VGRT Gaming Podcast, episode 755, recorded on June 11th, 2025.
Hello and welcome to the 755th edition of the TD Gaming Podcast and 588th episode of Video Game Roundtable. I am TJ Dinser.
And I am Jonah Falcon.
The VGRT Gaming Podcast focuses on game news from around the industry.
Right. Scott's not here yet. We will add him as he comes in. A lot went on in the past 2 weeks, obviously. Most notably the game shows, gaming shows. But before we do all that, we'll talk briefly about what we've been playing. I've been replaying Marvel's Midnight Suns from scratch.
Is there anything in particular you're trying to do this run, or just play?
I don't know, but here's the thing: the story changed a little, and I was not expecting that because, and this is not a new game plus, but before, in my first playthrough, I had Tony Stark invading the shop club, right, and everybody getting annoyed with him trying to take over shop club. It doesn't happen. It didn't happen in this playthrough. I'm like, wait, why isn't Tony invading this shop club? It's not like the story went wilder or anything like that. Something strange here. I think it may be the way. I don't know if I played it differently. I just think the story changed it by itself. It's really weird. There's certain events that did not happen.
I can't remember if the shop club is related to one of the friendship quests or something. I feel like that was
Tony. Maybe it's.
I feel like that was either a Tony or a Robbie Reyes thing.
No, it was probably a Tony thing, but I don't remember being a 5-tier friend with him. I'm a 3-tier friend with him right now. This time I got to 5-tier with Peter, Spider-Man, and I really like his special power, in which he just leaps in the air and he plays 3 of his skills for free. No card cost. But the thing is that I remember being able to get the Hulk's special move, and I have not been able. I don't even know if here's the thing: when the Hulk comes in, I don't know if you become a friend with him, but I just always remember being able to use his Earthquake Pound, and I don't know when that comes. He
arrives in your party like super late in the game.
I know.
Or like. He and Logan, I feel like they have less fleshed out.
Oh no, I'm at 4 friendship with Logan right now, and I'm grinding before we do the final mission. But I remember being able to do almost everybody's challenges, and I'm trying to figure out what happened here. Is it only now 5 level? I don't know. I do know that it's just really strange. I do know that I was able to get some. Oh, and I also finally found the last haven, which I wasn't able to, so I got the achievement. And it's really weird when you get achievements a few years after you last started getting achievements. And I'm finding all the reagents is a real pain in the ass because the Wonder Bloom is random and only appears on certain nights. And if you're not careful, you can accidentally spend them if you're if you're making transmutation. So that achievement's going to be like for a while now. Yeah. But here's the thing. I always hated the beginning of the game, the writing, because it was so quippy. It was like a parody of a Marvel movie. And then the second time going through, I realized, oh, wait, that actually has a purpose. Because Tony has a character arc, and he's the quippiest guy, and he gets less and less and less and less quippy as you go along, which I found interesting. Yeah, I wonder if it's the if I have to if it's just if everything that happens with the Hulk is after the final mission. I don't know, but yeah, I'm having a lot of fun. I'm finding it a lot more addictive now than I did when I first played. Now that I know all the mechanics. So I've been able to really get good builds out of them.
Nice.
So tell me about Elden Ring Night Rain.
Yeah. So I've been playing Elden Ring Night Rain for a while. It's an odd one, right? Because it's not a normal From Software adventure. It's kind of a battle royale Monster Hunter mix of things where you jump in with 3 people, run around the map collecting weapons and leveling up as fast as you can, and then you go after a target monster and you either win or lose. But like the ring, there's like a ring, of course, that comes in and like surrounds you, and if you don't stay in that ring, you get torched and die. And so all sorts of weird elements at play. Very odd, out of the ordinary game for FromSoft, but kind of addictive at the same time. Also, like, you don't create your own character in this one. You have there are like 6 different character classes, and they all do slightly different things. I've been playing the Guardian, which is a giant birdman with a halberd and a shield. He's a very defensive class, so my gameplay kind of relies on other people's damage being good, whereas I kind of try to pull aggro, be defensive, and do my part. But man, they don't have a way for you to leave if a run is going bad right now, where you don't get penalized if you're in a group setting. And if somebody if you start dying, if you die in this, before the boss fight, you don't it doesn't end the run. You lose a level, and you lose all the runes associated with that level. And so, if you die even twice before the end of the game, end of the run, you're already so hobbled. And man, when a run goes wrong, it goes wrong so fast and so badly in that game. It's still fun though. I like the bird guy a lot, just because we've never had, we haven't had FromSoft games have characters, but I don't think any of them are as cool as that bird guy. I like playing as him. He's fun. But it's a pretty decent game. I think they're going to need to come up with more content for it pretty quickly though, because I'm already coming to the last maybe 2 bosses, and I just can't imagine how much more time I'll spend on the game after I hit those 2.
Well, it's a multiplayer game, so it's probably going to have a live service thing in which you keep on adding stuff. So we'll see.
Yeah, and I think that I hope to see it soon, because it seems like the kind of game where they need to be on top of it with content updates and such.
Anyways, moving on. So we're going to get into the news. Before we do any of that, we're going to talk about the big news that came out from Xbox, and that is the Xbox Ally X, which was revealed. It's from Rogue, R-O-G, actually it's Asus who made the Rogue Ally. And it's basically a handheld streaming console, which you can dock as well. The Xbox Ally X is the premier version. It has a Ryzen AI Z2 Extreme, 24 megabytes of RAM, and a 1 terabyte solid state drive. And it has a nice beefy 80 megawatt battery. And that's what I always look for first when you're looking at a handheld. What's the battery life? I want to know what the battery life is. Who cares if you can only play it for 2 hours? Vita. So, then there's the base level Xbox Ally, which is just the Z2 chip, 16 megabytes of RAM, and half a terabyte of solid state with a 60 watt drive. They use a 7-inch screen that's 1080p with a 120 hertz refresh rate. It's with VRR, variable refresh rate, and FreeSync. In short, it doesn't do some of the things that the Nintendo Switch can do. I think that's not the point. They're not making a handheld console that's supposed to compete with the Switch. They're making something that's supposed to compete with the Steam Deck. So, and there's no price given, but we can guess, because this is not Asus's first. They have their own PC version, and the Xbox Ally X is basically a mirror of their top of the line of the PC version, and that costs $800. So people are guessing 500 to 600 for the Xbox Ally and 700 to 800 for the Xbox Ally X. It'll also allow you to import your games from Steam, Epic, and GOG, which is really mind-blowing for a lot of people.
That's pretty rad. I had 2 questions come to mind when I was looking at this thing. Was this the handheld that Xbox has been toting for a while? That like
The answer is no. This is
this
not.
isn't it.
No.
So
The other news is that they've delayed their portable Xbox for another year.
So they're still making like a first party Xbox handheld.
Yeah. So what this is a collaboration.
Yeah.
Remember the Ryzen that used to clip onto both sides of a cell phone, and you could use that as an Xbox.
Mm-hmm.
This one is more of a Steam Deck for your Xbox.
Okay, so they're still working on their original thing. And this is just like
their own,
a side project. It was very interesting to me that it was revealed on the same week that the Switch 2 comes out. Like, I think you're right that they don't compete with each other, but the timing is interesting.
This is mostly Asus with some collaboration with Microsoft. I have a feeling that Asus is the one who's going to be making most of the money, and Microsoft just gave them their blessings. And Microsoft said, you know what? This can actually let us work on our handheld more when there's no more tariffs, and the price will be cheaper because these components will be less expensive in a year or two.
Yeah. Do you think that they tried to announce it around the same time as the Switch 2's release, or is it just coincidence?
I think it's a coincidence because A, they've been working on this for a while. B, they Asus has really wanted to compete with Valve with the Steam Deck, and this is one way to do it because they already have, like I said, they already made their own PC version. Now they're making an Xbox version, and it looks good. It looks really nice. The price is kind of high, but then again, so is the regular version.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think this is part of Microsoft's strategy. They're just incorporating it as a third-party thing.
Mm-hmm.
But it also may be a way for Microsoft to copy notes on how it does and see what people say about it.
That makes more sense because I feel like when Xbox does announce its like first party handheld, that's something that you would put at the end of a showcase and not like somewhere slipped in the middle like they did with the ROG LIX.
Yeah, but it still made a big hit. In the thing. I mean, the fact is that, like I said, Steam, Epic, and GOG, that's sort of like a thunderstrike there.
Mm-hmm. That is really cool that you can just bring all that together in one place.
And it has a beefy 1 terabyte solid state SIM. Nintendo.
I think one of the few things I saw that people were concerned about with this is that it's going to have a Windows based OS.
Yeah, but what I found out is that it's a stripped down Windows. It's all it is like DirectX and nothing else. It's all the stuff has been cut out. So that is just the bare minimum of Windows. And it needs to be the bare minimum of Windows if it's going to play Steam, Epic, and GOG games, to tell you the truth.
Yeah. Well, it'll be interesting to see what the price on that is, especially with things going the way.
The higher tier. I'm willing to bet you anything it's going to be around $800.
Yeah. I think that makes sense.
Like I said, they already had their own handheld, but here's the thing: it might be a little less. It might be like $700. Because, as you know, as time goes on, those components get cheaper and cheaper. The only question, of course, is the tariff question. We'll see.
Yeah, of course.
But yeah, I'm on the fence of getting this. I like handheld, but I'm not in love with it. I know you like having your Switch or your what's it called thing and just sit in bed and play Balatro.
Mm-hmm.
You know? I'm neutral about it, you know. We'll see.
Do you have a Steam Deck?
No.
And like, yeah, I've always felt that the Steam Deck is cool, and it's interesting that it's caught on, and it's kind of stirred up the market to the point where we get stuff like this. But like, I'm really curious to see what Xbox's first party version of this ends up looking like. Because
here's the thing: the reason why Microsoft is pushing the Asus handheld is that it's part of this is an Xbox campaign, right, for streaming and stuff like that.
Right.
So this is just a part of that. You have your Samsung smart TVs that can do Xbox stuff.
Yeah. And but like as far as like what the Xbox first party version of this would be like, I would assume that the first party is probably going to be a little bit beefier than this. Yeah.
It's gonna be more like the Switch. I mean, it's gonna have a dock. It's gonna go onto your TV and what's called upscale to 4K, just like the Switch does. This is the basically your Steam Deck in which you take it to bed and you play some Balatro with it.
Sure. Well, it'll be interesting to see more details on it. I know that it made a splash during the presentation.
And unlike the Steam Deck, this one will have a better Game Pass functionality.
One would think so if Xbox is on the name.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just saying, like the Steam Deck, it streams, but it doesn't have the same kind of cloud that Microsoft does.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see. Anyway, we're going to move forward, and we're going to talk about the first big announcements, the State of Play. So, I'm going to guess. See, there are two games here which I think probably you are most interested in. The first is Neo 3, because I know you really enjoyed Neo and Neo 2.
I did.
And the other one is ArcWorks' fighting game with Marvel characters.
That was easily like the most mind-blowing thing, in my opinion, that happened during that show. And like, let me preface. First off, close on Neo. I was Onimusha. I'm super interested in what they're doing with Onimusha. I love that series. It's so weird and so different every time. And I guess we're doing Musashi Miyamoto this time, which I love a good Musashi story. So I've been super excited for that game, and I'm really excited to see more. The Marvel thing.
Yeah, it's an anime take too. The characters are very anime-ish.
Mm-hmm. They're very chipper and jocular.
What a surprise!
But the Marvel thing was mind blowing, and I always have to remember that the FGC, like the fighting game community, is kind of a niche thing. Because man, I was over the moon watching that trailer, and then I went online and saw people like being like, more Marvel schlock anime game, get out of here. It's like, are you guys insane? This is awesome.
Hello, this is Arc System Works. You're not expecting anime from them? Where have you been?
And like, I like the Marvel Tokon riffs of the Marvel characters more than I like the Marvel Rivals riffs on those characters. I think Iron Man looking like a freaking Gundam, and like Steve in the bomber jacket, and then we got freaking Robbie Reyes, Ghost Rider. Dr. Doom was looking sinister and awesome. Storm came out looking freaking great. It was awesome to see this game in action. And like, I don't know what Capcom did to not be making this game, but it's very interesting to see Arc System Works on a new competent looking Marvel tag fighter instead of the Capcom name. There have been a lot of theories as to what's going on, but I think a lot of people are just like really happy to see a new Marvel fighting game.
Well, I mean, how about just the new fighting game, period? I mean, this is not a new IP, but it is a new take on an IP. It's potentially a new IP. I saw people who are okay with the new Silent Hill game, Silent Hill F.
It's ever since they've announced Silent Hill F, the conceit to me is strange that there's just a Silent Hill curse that's also in a little city in Japan. Like, man,
and also with a girl in it has to. Hey, look, if it's in Japan, it has to involve a girl in a school outfit, school uniform.
And like the whole thing is still there. It's a foggy town. Everybody has regrets, and those regrets manifest into some nasty shit.
You know what I was thinking though through the entire thing? I was thinking, wow, this is the best Fatal Frame game they never showed.
It does have those vibes. It really does.
Fatal Frame via Silent Hill, except she doesn't have a camera with her. She has a crowbar.
They just need to stop building Silent Hill towns, though, because it's not working out for anyone involved.
The only problem I have is that, I don't know, maybe it's the trailer is lying, but there seemed like there was way too much melee combat in the game.
That was a very combat-heavy trailer. I agree. Like it was kind of weird how much they focused on that part of it. And like I don't know, I kind of like exploring and solving puzzles in Silent Hill games, so I hope that that's not everything we do cuz
Also, that trailer, I don't need to know the story. I already know the story. They made it so obvious what the story is about. What the the first games were about guilt and all that. I know what this game's about. I already know what this game's about. You don't have to. I've seen a lot of movies that are just like this, and a
yeah.
lot of manga stories. I already know the game. I mean, I already know the story. Why did you even?
They got to hook you in. They got to show you that it's Silent Hill
Yeah,
for real.
I don't get off on Japanese schoolgirls though. That seems to be their main hook. Hey, you want to see a Japanese schoolgirl dealing with titty zombies?
Mannequins. Evil mannequins.
Evil titty
Stabby
mannequins. Evil titty mannequins. Oh, gee, could this have anything to do with her betraying a friend and stealing a boy from them, and this is her guilt? Nah, couldn't be. Couldn't be. And he accidentally caused her death, or else she wouldn't be in Silent Hill. What I want to know is, I hope there's multiple endings, and one of the endings involve a dog.
You gotta have the dog. You gotta have the dog ending.
And you also have there's also it has to be a UFO ending too.
Yes. Let me see. What else?
Here's the thing. They're still pushing VR. I don't know how far they're going with VR. I would really love a Thief game in VR, but that's not Garrett, and I don't care.
Yeah, I did see that. Like, how long has it been since there's been a Thief game?
The Thief or Thief 4 was in 2014, I think.
So this VR game is like the first time Thief fans have gotten.
It was 2014. Yeah.
So this
11
VR
years
game
ago.
is the first time that Thief fans have gotten to eat in more than a decade.
Well, we've had a game called Dishonored. So
that's true.
I mean, and Dishonored 2 had Stephen Russell, aka Garrett, as a playable character. So yeah.
And speaking of VR, what do you think it was? Okay, so like Luminous Arise is not entirely a VR game, but it has VR options because Enhanced Games is good at doing that.
Yeah, I've always been around for Luminous. I mean, it has VR. It was okay with Tetris.
Mm-hmm.
Remember when Tetris had the VR option?
Yeah, I like the cinema mode in Tetris VR.
Yeah, I mean, I can leave it a take, but it's always nice to have more at Luminous.
This game, I've never played these games before, but everybody tells me that they're freaking awesome.
And these games, it's not quite Tetris. It's more like Meldtris. One thing that a lot of people got excited about was a new Final Fantasy Tactics game. This is actually a remake from the 1997 game.
Which one?
We're getting a lot of Final Fantasy Tactics. We're getting a lot of tactics games too.
Oh yeah. This was like, I don't know what everybody I know a lot of people expected a full-on remake. This is a remaster, but like,
don't tell me people wanted more.
I've heard people, I've seen people online having arguments about whether or not this game is political, which that makes no sense. That makes no sense to me. It's Final Fantasy Tactics, and if you ever played the original, it was absolutely political.
Yeah,
like there's straight up class warfare in Final Fantasy Tactics. I don't know how anyone could like miss that at all, because it hits you over the head with it right from Jump Street.
And you know what? If you don't like it, don't buy it. And come on. There's a new Bloodstained, and it's now 2.5D.
This was interesting to see. I thought it was a Mercury Steam game when we were looking at it for a while. I like the Bloodstained series. It looks pretty good in 2.5D here from what they showed.
Well, here's the thing. Bloodstained was made by the guy who did Castlevania. It's basically Castlevania all but name.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's all you need to know. The thing is that it's sort of like, what am I thinking of? You know how Castlevania went 3D? This sort of reminds me of that, even though it's 2.3 2.5D, but it has the cutscenes that remind me a lot of the Lord of Shadows games.
Yeah, that does it does have that vibe. I actually thought that's why I thought it was that's why I thought it was a Mercury Steam game, because I kind of thought that it was going to be a sequel to they did a 2.5D Castlevania, like the last one that they did. It was after, it wasn't Lords of Shadow. It was one of the ones that came after Lords of Shadow, but it was very specifically on the Nintendo DS, the 3DS. Yeah. I like those games. I like the Mercury Steam games. I like what they've been doing with the Bloodstained series. And you're right. It like the last one they had was straight up Castlevania 3 in all but name. And so I'm really interested to see what they do with this.
Speaking of anime, what did you think of the new Ninja Gaiden game? Ragebound, that is. I'm not talking about the other Ninja Gaiden. I'm talking about this Ninja Gaiden game.
I've been all over Ragebound ever since it was first revealed, just because it's the Game Kitchen who made the Blasphemous games.
Yeah.
So they know their way around like side-scrolling platformer.
But the art style is really good.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, they've got the art style down. It looks like they've got the action down. I'm hearing that it's pretty difficult, and
it's a Ninja Gaiden game. Hey,
which is perfect for me. I love that.
Hey, look, Ninja Gaiden was Dark Souls before Dark Souls. People have to realize this. Dark Souls did not invent the act. And here's the thing: Ninja Gaiden, it don't wait for these guys to wind up and take a slow shot at you. No. They don't care about you setting. No, they're going to attack you right now, and you better be ready. There's no waiting. There's no patterns. Well, there are patterns, but but it's like Ninja Gaiden in Dark Souls. You have this giant beaver that he pulls his sword back slowly. He's getting ready to hit you. He's going to get ready. No, and Ninja Gaiden, he just comes and stabs you in the back and says, "Okay, what are you going to do about that?"
Yeah, and not only that, but like in that last trailer they showed, they had a sweet remix of an original Ninja Gaiden track, basically like the fourth level of the game, one of the best in the game. And to hear that like remixed into a modern version, goodness gracious, I can't wait to hear more of that soundtrack.
Yeah. Do you care about the Mortal Kombat Legacy Collection? I think they've already done that before, didn't they?
We haven't had a Digital Eclipse tier level of like this bundle where everything is collected. Like,
well, they did have a physical and for PC, and it sucked. So hopefully they cleaned it up.
Yeah, and like everything is here, even including the bad ones. We're talking about like the Game Boy, the original Game Boy version of Mortal Kombat, the Game Gear version of Mortal Kombat, and that will probably include the Mortal Kombat trilogy, which had absurd loading times back in the day that made it almost unplayable. So I wonder if that'll be a little bit better now.
So you actually avoided talking about it, but let's get back to Neo 3. The big improvement on this one is that there are two modes now. There's a samurai mode and a ninja mode. Samurai mode is tactical, and the ninja mode is quick and fighty.
That is interesting because, like, you could be the one of the biggest things about Neo is that you could kind of just make the character the way you want them. I'm guessing that, yeah, like ninja mode, like you said, is going to be more focused on stealth and backstabbing.
Dodging an aerial, yeah.
Either way, I wonder if that means that we're going to get a big change in how the game handles as far as just like combat and all that stuff. Because the combat,
you switch between them freely.
Oh, okay.
You're able to switch between the battle styles instantly at any point. So you come up against an enemy, and say, "Oh, I'm gonna have to go samurai mode on this guy. Oh, this guy, ninja style." Or maybe you can take out both, and it's just up to you which way you can do it.
That makes sense. I wonder, like, so then there's still going to be the typical style of combat from the previous games.
Oh no, samurai style is Neo 1 and 2 combat style.
Okay.
The ninja style is the fast dart jump sort of thing.
I hope they
Like I
sort
said,
out the inventory in those games because Neo 1 and 2 are pretty great as far as like combat and story goes. But man, I hate that every battle has you collecting like 6 pieces of gear, all of which are useless, and you need to just figure out what like to throw away.
yeah.
I don't like having to sort through different pieces of gear every single time I finish a fight.
IO Interactive showed off their 007 game, First Light. And for those who don't know,
I
IO Interactive is the Hitman game. So it's gonna be interesting to see. We already
yeah.
knew that they were working on a James Bond game, right? So now we finally know what it is.
Mm-hmm.
Because they've been working on the James Bond game. Oh, Jesus. If I remember correctly, it was like 5 or 6 years ago that we first heard about it. You know, around the time Hitman 3 came out.
It was around 2021, I do believe. It's been around since we've known its existence since 2021. But yeah, this was a fantastic look. Oh, I'm sorry, no, it was announced in November 2020.
Yeah.
But yeah, this looked phenomenal, and man, they led up to it by announcing that we would be getting a James Bond villain as a as a elusive target in Hitman World of Assassination. Le Chiffre is coming played by Mads Mikkelsen, is coming to Hitman, and we get to take him out. And if you take him out, then you get an unlock in 007 First Light. So 007 First Light is like kind of a dream come true for a few of us that have been following that game. It's everything Hitman should be, but packed into a James Bond, which is awesome. Like everything looked good in there. I loved the gadgets, the laser watch, the subterfuge,
Classic
blending in.
Yeah.
Yeah. It seems to me like it'll be a little bit more action oriented than Hitman.
Well,
But
it's James Bond. What'd you expect?
yeah, that makes sense. But I'm still excited to have like new sandboxes where I get to play as a character that is just built to blend in and figure out creative ways to murder people.
Okay, so before we go, we're getting some new Astrobot DLC.
Yes, new levels. We've had speedrun levels in the past, and there was also a Christmas level which I somehow missed. I guess it came out like right in between our coverage, but I need to go back and play that because I love Astrobot. I haven't played too many of the speedrun missions, but I did finish the whole game in like 100% the collectibles. So I'm excited for more Astrobot. That's gonna be like this game is easily set up to be like PlayStation's marquee franchise for the next forever.
Moving on to Summer Games Fest, which was not very good, but you know, what can you do? Resident Evil 9 was officially announced, called Resident Evil Requiem.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, that says everything.
I've been looking it over. I don't know what to think of it just yet. I hear that it's going to be playable in first person and third person. And they're going back to Raccoon City again after it's been exploded, which is an interesting twist. Like, I don't think that we've ever in this series gone back to a city to a location that was already ruined by the T virus. So I'm interested to see how they play that out because I would have like it's Resident Evil. There's going to be traces of whatever was happening there that are still there and try to kill you. That's the way it goes. But also, they revealed that the main character that you were looking at for Resident Evil Requiem is a character related to one of the ones in Resident Evil Outbreak. She has the same last name as the reporter character in Resident Evil Outbreak, and I think they're sisters. So it's interesting that they bring up Resident Evil Outbreak lore this late in the game because they haven't really acknowledged those games at all since they've been out.
The only thing that people have told me is they hope Lady Domination is in Resident Evil 9.
I did hear tell today that there is some sort of creature that is large and will follow you and try to kill you.
Oh my god! That's never been in a Resident Evil game.
I made a joke about that today too. Like, people think that Resident Evil is a zombie game or a horror game or even an action game. No, it's a large person follows you for the memes game.
Yeah, Mr. X, Nemesis, whatever.
Dimitrescu.
Yeah, but she's only in one segment though.
Yeah, but she still
But she's
follows you around the
memorable.
castle.
Yeah. A new Dying Light game was shown off, Dying Light Beast, and it looks better than any Dying Light. It doesn't look like a Dying Light game. It looks like it's using a much better engine this time around.
Mm-hmm. It's interesting too, because Dying Light 2, I enjoyed playing that game for what it was and co-op, but I can't deny in the slightest that thing was janky, like real janky. And I hope it's cleaned up when they get started with the Beast, because I don't want to deal with like having to wait for patches if I'm going to jump into this again, because that is what I had to do with Dying Light 2.
There's a new Scott Pilgrim game, Scott Pilgrim EX. It's going to be a brawler.
Mm-hmm. Which, surprising. Apparently, they're working with the original comic book creator to make this game, so that's good.
We have a new Mortal Shell game. I mean, it was an interesting take on the Souls-like genre. So,
yeah, I'm trying to see. So they shadow dropped Lies of P's expansion during the show.
Yeah.
I'm excited for that. I haven't been able to jump into it, but man, the original Lies of P is so good. I think it's better. I think it's the best non-From Software game. I think it's better than Mortal Shell, but also it's an interesting concept to just take the story of Pinocchio and stretch it into an entire From Software Bloodborne-esque experience.
They're already, from what I understand, they're bringing in the Wizard of Oz already. That's also public domain.
Dude, go full throttle on it. I hope they go all into all the morbid fairy tales and dig them up for this. Why not? Overture looks great. The characters look great. The weapons look great. The monsters look great. And I'm excited to check back into that, because I need to finish the original Lies of P, and then I need to dig into this expansion right away, because it's going to be fun.
So, do you care about Death Stranding too?
Of course I do.
I don't know. I don't know. Death Stranding was so frustrating. It's not even funny.
It's my favorite walking around the world game.
Yeah, I love games. Hey, look, I play American Truck Simulator, for crying out loud, I played a lot of Elite Dangerous. I know those kind of games. What I don't like is the frustration. The entire goo coming up and sucking you down with visible, it's so badly implemented, in my opinion, that it's just, I'd rather you just make it a challenge to just get across the land and ditch that the thing that allows you to just basically cheat. Allows you to just skip out entire areas. The thing that carries you along. Jeez, I forgot the name of it already. The zip lines. Yeah, just get rid of the zip lines and just make it all about carrying, climbing, and descending.
Yeah, unlike that is a concern I do have about Death Stranding 2, is that for the most part they've been showing us like cutscenes and then combat and action sequences.
I didn't mind those. I mean, I didn't mind having to deal with the people out in the field in which I had to either avoid or shoot, right? And I like the way that, unlike a lot of games, those people can see you naturally. It's not like they have a vision cone that ends here and all of a sudden you're invisible. No. If you're a blip on the horizon, they can see you. Just like I would be able to see you if you're a couple of blocks away, So yeah, I don't mind that. I just don't like the stupid enforced supernatural element. But then again, if they didn't have that, then there'd be no reason to have a fetus in a jar for you to take care of, I guess.
Yeah, I did mind the combat. I think the combat in Death Stranding sucks. It's not fun.
Well, it's here's the thing: the combat in every single Grand Theft Auto game I ever played sucked. So it's not as bad a thing to me, just as long as I'm able to, sneak around them.
I think the thing that bothers me the most about the combat and things like that in Death Stranding is that the game is designed around the difficulty of Sam moving through the world and keeping like balance with himself with all that cargo on his back. And when you throw that into combat and make combat clumsy and awkward like that, I don't want to engage with it. There's nothing fun about that. I just want to get out of that situation and get back to travel.
Here's the thing: had they focused, if they took out the goo and just focused on the combat, I'm pretty sure the combat would be a lot better. Anyways, do you care about a game starring the Wu-Tang Clan?
It's weird that it exists, but no, not really. Are we back in 50 Cent Blood on the Sand days yet?
Hey, Blood on the Sand was actually entertaining in a bad way. Sort of like watching Showgirls.
No, I'm not really interested in the Wu-Tang game.
I am interested in that Killer Inn thing because hopefully, because I really like hidden role trader games. I just don't like Among Us, right? I like more like Town of Salem. This Square Enix just turned. I hope Square Enix didn't turn it into Among Us with tits. Because, well, they have the girly girl clothes.
I do like the idea of like social deception. Yeah. Well, social deception, hotel murder mystery. Yeah. That in and of itself seems like a fun premise to play with. I don't know how it's actually going to go, but it's at least an interesting start.
Yeah. Atomic Heart 2 was announced.
How strange. I didn't think that good for them, I guess. I don't remember thinking much of the first one, and it didn't.
Here's the thing: when you have an indie team, they'll make a sequel because they want to make a sequel. They're not going to have people, the marketing thing say, "Well, we have this, and the audience." No, they don't give a shit. We're just going to make Atomic Heart 2 because we like Atomic Heart. Yeah, we're going to fix it, but you know what? Unfish said, "We're just going to make it. Screw you. You like it? You don't like it? I don't care." That's the way it should be, really.
Good for them. I don't know how, I don't know what to think of it, just because I bounced off the first one.
How about Ill? Did you like Ill? It's a new body horror game.
Ill is something that one of my buddies was saying that has been in development for quite a while, and they've been really interested about it. I don't know what I feel about it yet.
I get Scorn vibes from it.
It does have that kind of vibe.
And Scorn was made by a very small team, too. So we're finding out that small teams can make some really good games. Hello, Player Obscure.
This is Team Clout, which, this is their first game as well. The weapons and the creatures look decent. Even the crazy, scary gremlin baby. Which if ever anyone was trying to capture the vibe of just gremlins with those weird babies that were in that trailer, they did it.
Wholesome Direct was actually a little less wholesome this time around. There were a lot fewer cozy software toys, but they did have some interesting games. And the thing is that, Power Wash Simulator has a lot to answer for because now there's Leaf Blower Company, in which you play someone who's blowing leaves. And there's actually a lot more going on in that game than it might initially appear. I think someone just created a physics simulator and said, "Hey, let's turn this physics simulator into a game." Because I would say those are the best leaves blowing physics I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, and that's perfectly reasonable. I like the idea of just taking if you figured out how to do something fun with some physics and a game engine, why not just throw a silly premise on it and make it a game? It does look fun. It does look ridiculously fun.
And the thing is that, like I said, like Power Wash Simulator and the new one, Spray Paint Simulator. Spray Paint Simulator is fun, but only if you're willing to work, because you have to tape up everything, remove all the parts. And when it gets to the larger levels, it's like, okay, we want you to tape up 90 things in this space and take off 30 items from the thing. And it's like, oh my God. And not only do you have to take them off, and you have to spray paint, and then after you're done, you have to put them back on again, and you have to untape everything. It's like, yeah, you thought this was just going to be like a Power Wash Simulator? No. You know what? Fuck you. We're going to make you work, baby. But Leaf Blower has less of that and more of the leaf blowing. But you do have different equipment that you use and that sort of thing. But there's a demo right now on Steam. Meanwhile, Instance is basically unpacking.
Yeah.
And I like it. Basic Instance, for those it's a very simple concept. You get a bunch of photographs and you figure out in which order those photographs go. That's it.
Mm-hmm. One of the ones that caught my eye and really, I was going to say Ambrose Niflet.
Oh, yes.
It's a little French stop motion indie inspired adventure.
Here's the thing. The broadcast said the cutest little detective game you'll ever see. And yeah, it was damn cute. But I was, you know what? Those characters, the game is almost photorealistic.
Yeah.
It's almost photorealistic.
It looks like very crafted world style and design for the characters and the environment. Too. I would be surprised if this wasn't actually like made out of things that they like crafted from real things and then put together in dioramas.
I'm pretty sure they did a 3D scan of stuff. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, but like it's a mystery in a little village, and I like a good detective story. So
here's the thing: as much of that is, I was also getting heavy Professor Layton vibes from it too.
Mm-hmm. There's definitely going to be puzzles abound, and I'm excited for that.
The one that's my jam is Let's Build a Dungeon.
Ooh, yeah.
Basically, it's a sequel to Let's Build a Zoo, but here I love the idea of that you're a DM and you're creating this world, not just a dungeon. That's a student. It's actually you're creating an entire world, a Zelda world, and then you have people come in. You have these people come in and play your, the computer, the little PC hero, the NPC heroes will start doing your thing, and you have to make them happy, and you have to make a better. It looks like something that'd be my jam.
Yeah, absolutely. Given like you've liked the Dungeon Maker games that we've seen in the past.
Yeah. The recent game. They have such a crappy name for that game. Basically it's a roguelike in which you're building rooms. Yeah, it's like they have the worst name in the world. It's like I want to say, is this place taken? It's very easy since I get achievements for it. I'll just look at my profile here and find out what the name of the damn game is.
We got
Into the Restless Ruins. I hate that name. Into the Restless Ruins is the name of the game.
Huh. We ended up we got like a Don't Starve like.
Aaron Judge homered again. Now I'm 25.
Oh.
He's on pace for 60 now.
We got like a Don't Starve like from Pine Creek Games with Winter Burrow.
Yeah.
And I liked the look of that one. You play as a little mouse and you basically basically a forest rodent. And you are literally trying to collect enough like food
Gross.
And
home sweet home
to survive the winter.
Yeah, they also had some DLC for Little Kitty Big City.
Yep.
Yeah, there's another mouse game, Squeakross Home Squeak Home, and it's a puzzle game, basically. Very, very. Monument Valley 3 came out, and I've never heard of the Monument Valley games, but it reminds me of Fez so much.
They are very much that vein. The way that you twist the world around and make paths out of just perspective. It is so crazy how they use perspective to design the puzzles in that game. You say I'm sorry. Oh gosh, what was the one you just said?
Into the Restless Ruin.
Oh no, Fez. You
Oh,
say
Fez.
Fez, but like Monument Valley to me has always also had vibes of Captain Toad.
Yeah.
I love those games, the Captain Toad games, and this is very much this is very much scratched that itch in previous games.
Um, Vending Dokkan by Cozy Kiosk, and the thing I'm thinking of, wait, well, this wasn't made by Konami because they have the Pachinko machines in there too. It's like basically it's a game in which you build vending machines and put them in. That's the only thing I had thought of it. But the game that I've been looking most at, and it surprises me, but Tales of the Shire was shown again. This is a game I've seen many times, and I'm really getting into it. It's basically Stardew Valley meets Song of Seasons, but with the hobbits.
Yeah, which the I like the idea of a peaceful Middle Earth game where you just play as hobbits doing your thing in the Shire and making making merriment. But it was strange to see it in the Wholesome Games showcase. I
It
would
is sort of, but they did have Story of Seasons as well. So
that's true.
I mean, I know where you're coming from because in before with Wholesome, it would be these micro software toy games, right? Just basically something to do while you're bored. Story of Seasons Grand Bazaar actually does take the concept of Story of Seasons and actually moves it someplace this time, in which you're actually creating a bazaar, right?
Yeah.
I mean, the game that you normally associate with Wholesome games like Is This Seat Taken, which I did like. Basically, all you're doing is picking up these shapes, and they have desires, and you have to figure out where to seat them so that they're happy.
Yeah, I like that too. And I was looking at one of these other ones that was
The
really
weird one was Make Room, because that's about houses. These sentient houses come and tell you to do their interior decorating, and they tell you how they want their insides to be decorated.
I think one of my favorite things that I saw, just because of the Ghibli vibe and I love management games, is Hotel Galactic.
Yeah.
Which is where you and like as it looks like you're basically sky sailors that go across and or not sky sailors that go across the sky and find people and then bring them back to this like basically a hotel on this island, and you build up the island and make the hotel better as you go. It has like business management vibes, but it also has a little bit of Spiritfarer vibes because of the way that you interact with the characters and try to like build friendships
It
and
definitely
and
has a
bonds
Studio
with them.
Ghibli feel. Yeah.
I'm really interested in this one. I'm really excited to see how it goes.
So we're gonna move on. I mean, there's a lot of other stuff in but there's always a lot going on with the Wholesome Direct. We're gonna go to the PC gaming show.
Mm-hmm.
Again, there was a lot of overlap, obviously. I don't know what caught your eye most.
And the PC gaming show,
Yeah,
it was the one thing that mattered probably the most to me was Endless Legend 2 getting its early access release.
Yeah. We know Endless Legend. That's been your clarion call for the past 2 years, I think.
At least it's been announced. I really am excited to jump into that game.
For you, it's your Hollow Knight Silk Song.
I was interested to see that Pathfinder is finally doing another, it's getting another game with the Abomination Vaults.
Yeah. I'm interested in the altars, because it's coming to Game Pass as well, and it's an interesting concept. If you remember the movie Moon, basically you make clones of yourself of this character, and you just keep making clones who all have their own tasks depending on what their stats say they're good for.
Yeah, the altars is a This is an 11-bit Studios game again, which are the folks that made things like This War of Mine and Frostpunk.
Yeah.
So they make their games like their management games are really
Weird game.
punishing and almost cruel. And this seems like it's going to be the same vibe because like the reason why you have to make these clones is because you're part of a scientific expedition where everybody else died and you're the only one left. And the company that sent you there wants to get their valuable resources from the place you're at. So they're like, okay, you can live, but you got to do this for us. And so meanwhile, the sun is so hot that if it reaches your base, it will just burn you all up. So you're in a race for resources for the company, trying to survive and also avoiding the sun. It's so much. And it's such an 11-bit Studios thing to do that much, while also being like, what is the sense of a person? What is the individual? Because each of these clones that you make has their own personalities, has their own specialties, and has their own like issues based on like different decisions that was made in the main character's life that changed them. So managing those vibes in addition to all the other stuff sounds like it's going to be unwieldy and ridiculous.
There were a lot of rhythm games as well. What has Hi-Fi Rush rocked? I mean, there's always been rhythm games, but now they just kept on doing rhythm games like All Systems Dance and Spooky Express, and what was that other game? One with skiing. You're going down a ski path, and it's a rhythm game as well. It's just all these rhythm games all of a sudden.
Yeah, no doubt. And I would also blame Crypt of the Necrodancer for that. Just it does feel like there's a couple of them that really opened up the genre for everybody else. Yeah. Ooh, oh no, I'm Not a Human got a Steam Next Fest demo during PC Gaming Show, which I don't know if you've seen that one. It's kind of a Papers, Please style deduction game where you're in a world where like aliens have ruined the outside and people basically hole up in their houses waiting for like and you have your house and you have to like people visit and you have to decide whether or not you let them in, and then you need to check if they're human or not, and then decide if you're going to eliminate them, because if you
Rescue on Fractalus all over again.
Yeah. If you don't eliminate an alien that makes it into your house, then they start killing other humans in the house.
Yeah. Well, that's what happens in Rescue on Fractalus, except they just kill you.
Yeah.
The one game that interested me was Railborn, because that is also my shit, if it's done right. So you don't know, it's a game in which it's a first-person survival game, which can be co-op, in which you're on a train and you kit it out and you get stuff, and you know, like if you're going through heavy snow, you have to have that cow catcher so it can knock it off, or you have to arm it, or you can put solar panels on it. It looks really interesting. It's by Washbear Studio, who did Parkosaurus. So. It's one of those games that could be my shit.
They announced a Moomin Troll game. That's funny.
Also, Neverwinter Nights 2 is getting a remaster.
Yes.
Used to be. What's funny is that it used to be Interplay, and now it's not anymore.
Is that one of those ones where like they lost the source code to the original and they had to find it?
No, Neverwinter Nights 2, it came out not long ago. Actually, it may have come off a long time ago. Maybe it was 2000 something, or maybe even 2000. They showed off more Anno 117 Pax Romana.
What am I thinking of? Is that Baldur's Gate that they can't make because they lost the source code?
No, it's Icewind Dale 2.
Oh, okay.
It's Icewind Dale 2 that they lost the source code. They have the remake of Icewind Dale, but not
100% because they don't have those original files anymore.
You have Baby Steps, which is basically Octodad, except with a person.
Yeah, we've seen so many.
Well, I mean, it was made by the people who did Quap, so
yeah. But we've gotten so many of these like frustrating climb up the giant things, I don't know. I'm kind of getting tired of that.
I'm trying to think of what else caught my. I mean, Busbound. I mean, you watched me play a Bus Simulator 14, and this is basically that, but by a different company. So we'll see how their take on it. Because I've seen other bus simulations, which are pretty terrible, but if it's good enough to be on the PC gaming show, I might give it a shot.
Ooh, Ponkel is publishing something this year.
Oh my God, Eugenics. Finally, are they finally going to release that thing?
Are they?
They said it says February 10th, 2026. That
Look at
fucking
that.
game has been a. I will say this: I love the theme song. This was back in 2010.
That is. Yeah, you've been telling us about this game for a very, very long time. For almost as long as I've known you.
Rub on a cat, on a cat. Cat gets fat. What's up with that? Eugenics.
Did you see that? Did you see that? The Vampire Survivor dev is getting into publishing.
Yep. There's actually some more of those type of games that have been coming out. The top-down survival omni shooters, twin stick shooter. Well, actually, no stick shooter in Vampire Survival's case. And the funny thing is that I say, well, you know what? I like Vampire Survivors when it was first called I Made a Game with Zombies in it. I made a game with zombies in it. I wonder how many people remember that game. It was back when there was the Xbox Live indie games, and you bought the game for $1.
Oh, this was from an earlier showcase, but you know what we didn't talk about?
No.
The new In Exile game.
Oh no! I know we're going to talk about that soon enough. Don't worry.
Oh, okay.
We're going to talk about
wait,
that soon
yeah,
enough.
you're right. Oh, sorry.
We're going to talk about that soon enough. Have you seen Railborn though? Do you see what it looks like? How it plays? It really is. It could potentially be my shit. So, we're going to skip all the PC games because here's the thing: the PC gaming show was not very good either.
Yeah.
And neither was basically the state of play either. So, at least the Xbox Game Showcase did have interesting stuff. So, let's go straight. Well, actually, before we talk about Clockwork Revolution, the surprise of the show for me, there are two big surprises. And I said, wait, what? The first one was Call of Duty Black Ops 7. It's like, wait, they're coming out with one already? And it does have multiplayer. What I was thinking was, well, I hope they're focusing on the single player at least. And unlike the other one, this one's taking place in 2035. Like I said, no one was expecting that. And the other game no one was expecting was Grounded 2.
Yeah, that one did catch me off guard. And I was
because here's the thing. It's you think of Grounded, you think, oh, it's a live service game. Right? So they're just gonna no. Because as Obsidian said, Grounded 2 has a beginning, middle, and end. And by the way, we made Grounded 2. We made Grounded, the original Grounded, the Xbox One, now the Xbox Series X. And now we can make it bigger. So guess what? You're now in a big park.
Everything's off limits. Everything's cool. There's scorpions. You can ride on ants and spiders.
Yeah,
and
you can mount. You can mount on. You can also get on flying insects and fly.
There's an ice cream truck. There's an ice cream truck that got knocked over and will give you a winter biome.
Here's the thing. There's no more zip lines.
Yeah.
But that's fine.
If the spiders and ants are fast enough, then you might not need them.
Here's the thing: they announced that yes, there is going to be an arachnophobia mode, even if you're riding an arachnophobia. I can just imagine people riding along on this blob that's going. It's coming to game preview. I mean, they're actually coming to game preview on my birthday, July 29th.
Yep.
Strange. It's like I was not expecting a Grounded 2. I was not. But you know what? A lot of people love Grounded.
Yeah. It was a great survival game with a very interesting premise. All of them are always so serious. We don't get one where it's just like, Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, silly schlock.
It's silly schlock because of the robot. The robot in there just says, when you reach the lab and you encounter the robot, you go, oh, okay. This is supposed to be fun. This is supposed to be like by kids for kids. It's like the robot that used to be a burger flipper.
Mm-hmm.
But one thing I noticed that's interesting is that this is not coming out for PlayStation yet, or Switch. The other games are, have multi-platform. This one is not. But Grounded will still be on the PlayStation and the Switch. It's just that Grounded 2 right now probably a console exclusive for about a year.
Mm-hmm.
Then it'll move on. But yeah, early access, July 29th. I'm all in. I want to see what they do. I want to see what they do with it.
Grounded 2 is a game that I would love to see come to the Switch too.
It will, but in a year or so. Here's the other thing is that this one is stressing even more the co-op features. The first one was co-op, right? But this one seems like, yeah, we really want you to be a team in this one.
Mm-hmm. I'm excited for more Grounded. The stuff that they showed us right out of the gate was the moment that they showed us that you could ride ants and spiders as loyal steeds into battle. I was sold. That in of itself legitimized this game's existence.
Which makes me wonder what the surprises are going to be.
Yeah.
They always hold things back. I mean, they showed a lot, but we also know that Obsidian loves to hide stuff from you. And by the way, there's going to be 3 major Obsidian games this year. We have Avowed, we have The Outer Worlds 2, and we have Grounded 2, all coming out the same year. So it's an Obsidian year. Now you were saying?
Yes. Oh, I was just looking at the back of the first one because in the first one there was only one bird. It was the crow, and it came along very, very late in Grounded 1's life. But that thing was dangerous, and so like I'm putting this game in a city park. I can imagine them putting up a scene where like you've got like a bench where there's breadcrumbs all over the floor and birds running around, and you just have to avoid them.
So the other thing I have to ask you is, have you tried the Foundry demo yet for Tony Hawk 3-4?
I have not. I'm excited, but I'm going to hold off until, unless I'm assigned to coverage for that game, I'm going to hold off and wait for the full thing because I'm so excited to play Tony Hawk 3 levels
in 4 weeks. It's coming out July 11th. So
I know. I can hold off. I can be patient because I'm excited to get back in there.
Okay, let's talk about Clockwork Revolution. So,
yay.
I was surprised. I was surprised at how much was going on in it. Because when you saw the first trailers and what was going on in it, it said, okay, BioShock Infinite. But this one has a lot of RPG elements, more than I was expecting. One thing, you have a customizable character. And I love the character creation, mode, in which they have this Ponzi twit who talks about this person who robbed them, and then he's describing what the person looked like. And that's how you create your character, as he's describing what you look like. Here's the thing. It's going to be a fun game. There's a lot of dry wit in it.
This is in Exile. This is Brian Fargo. So the idea of Brian Fargo doing his own take on what he would have done with BioShock Infinite is looking pretty fabulous so far. Hey, this game looks beautiful. This was the most beautiful thing I saw at the show, in my opinion. It's their art style that they've done for this, the Art Deco style for the towns and like the enemies and everything. It's so good looking.
Yeah, I mean when this is the sort of game in which you can see Microsoft asking Brian Fargo, okay, what do you want to make next? It doesn't have to be Wasteland. And Brian Fargo describes Clockwork Revolution and says, okay, sure, do it. We need content for Game Pass. Do it.
And this tiny little Mozart-looking doll.
Yeah. There's a lot of snarky characters in this. And you also have the time. And here's the thing. The time travel mechanic almost seems like it's intruding on the game to me.
Mm-hmm.
I almost don't want it. I just want to be in that particular world with those particular characters.
Mm-hmm.
But that's the entire point, is that the villainess of the game did do time travel, and she screwed things up, and now you have to do it, and it's sort of like a butterfly effect. you keep on making different pasts, and I wonder if it's just really, really wonderfully strange.
I love In Exile's sense of humor. I loved it in Wasteland 3, and I'm really excited to see, based on what we've seen from this game so far, this could end up being a game of the year in whatever year it ends up coming out if it continues to hang at the level of quality that we've been seeing in the trailers.
Yeah, and you know what? You already said it before. It's okay to have a fun game that's funny. Grounded. It's funny. It's a fun game. It's tense because when that wolf spider sees you and starts throwing you, you run as fast as you fucking can. It's one of the most frightening things you'll ever have in a video game.
Yeah,
that wolf spider just bearing down on you.
Mm-hmm.
But this looks like a fun game. I mean, a funny game, fun. It's not in the. You know what? So they did show off Gears of War Reloaded, and it's coming out multi-platform, including PlayStation, which is fine because it's a 20-year-old game. Who cares if it's on PlayStation, right? But the one thing that I was very interested in is they showed off Gears of War Reloaded, but they did not show off Gears of War E-Day. So that's probably coming out in 2026. It's not coming out this year.
Yeah. Are you excited to check out Gears of War Reloaded?
Yeah, I mean, I got to General Ram, the final boss. I never got past him, so this might be a good chance to do it. I'll ask you a question. Are you excited over Ninja Gaiden 4?
Of course. I was always more of a 2D Ninja Gaiden fan, but like Ninja Gaiden, the 3D games are also dope as hell. Like they're the pre-Soulsborne games that are just ridiculously hard action melees.
And this is both Team Ninja and Platinum Games.
Yeah. And the amount of the best part of the Ninja Gaiden games has just been the ridiculously awesome flow of movement and attacks in that game. Where like
I already said that. I mean, in Souls-like games, it's like they wind up their attacks. Ninja Gaiden, no, there's no wind-ups.
When you get into a combo and you like counter enemies left and right and kill everyone in the room just like in a flash of blades, you feel like a god in those games. And conversely, when you get knocked off your rhythm, everything feels horrible and it feels so difficult to get back on track.
The disaster dominoes thing going on there.
Yeah. I'm excited. It's going to be fun because it looks like they've been doing everything that they're supposed to with a Ninja Gaiden game, and it's been so long since we've had a new one.
So, right. What the other big shock to me was when Game Freak's name appeared for Beast of Reincarnation. I said, Game Freak? No, wait. Yeah. Game Freak? Yeah. The Pokemon people? They're making a Souls-like? Well, actually, not a Souls-like exactly. It's a, what's the other game? Sekiro-like? It's an action RPG, anyway.
Are we going to be... Is it just, like, completely different from what they've been doing? I kind of figured that it was going to be still a creature capture, but it looks like it's not. I actually didn't know that.
No, it's sort of like, yeah, we're bored with Pokemon. Let's do something new for a change.
Interesting.
Game Freak making a game, yeah.
Let's see what happens when Game Freak cooks when they're not on that Nintendo Pokemon leash.
When they actually have passion and they're not reusing assets.
Although I will say that people have been telling me that Pokemon Scarlet and Violet are 10 times better on Switch 2 now that they don't have horrible draw distances, bad frame rates, and bugs out the wazoo.
But here's the thing about Beast of Reincarnation. This one's not in the past. This one's taking place in a post-apocalyptic Japan.
Mm-hmm.
So
this the world looks cool.
Bloober Team is making another game, Chronos: The New Dawn, and it's going to be a sci-fi horror game. And hey, Bloober Team loves doing their survival horror games.
Their game looks like a better version of that game that the former Dead Space creator tried to make.
Oh yeah. Oh, geez, I forgot the name of it too. That's not a good sign, is it?
And I mean that with like genuine enthusiasm. This game looks pretty decent. The idea is that like the monsters, if you leave them too long after wounding them, will combine with each other and become stronger monsters.
Yeah.
So you have to kill off them. You have to kill off the weak ones completely, or you risk letting it become a bigger threat. And also, it just kind of looks like you're traveling through dimensions in this game, and it's sort of a Remedy esque like, or maybe because Returnal had a little bit of that too, where you would pass through these areas and it would take you to weird like houses.
You know what was weird? When it started, I thought it was going to be a Destiny game because they had something that looked like Destiny's ball, the Traveler.
Mm-hmm.
I was thinking, oh, a Destiny game.
The idea though is like this character has died a few times, I think, and they're on some sort of loop. It's interesting that like I want to see more of like I want to see how crazy the monsters really get when you just let them meld because I want to see like this one little critter that's like a regular zombie-esque critter meld with like 3 or 4 things and become an ogre. a Cronenberg ogre.
Yeah. So they only did a teaser trailer for the Blood of the Dawn Walker. It looks interesting. Like, I mean, they didn't really show much, but
it's from the former devs that worked on
from Rebel
CD
Wolves.
Projekt. Yeah, Rebel Wolves is formed out of a few different lead designers from CD Projekt Red, and
it's being published by Bandai Namco too.
Yep. So I'm interested to see because like they showed a little bit of combat, and you can see that the Witcher DNA is kind of there.
Yeah. Speaking of which,
but also we're getting a European folklore vampire tale where like I wonder how they're going to play with the rules, like if they're going to do it traditional or if they're going to bend the rules.
It seems like he's a clone of a bunch of vampires, but he's the good clone, something like that.
I thought he was turned, but I like based on the trailer.
No, I mean, but yeah, yeah. No, what happens is that he was turned, but he, for some reason, is not an evil vampire.
Mm.
Speaking of European, we have Aphelion, which we might as call say is Life is Strange in Space.
Huh.
If I don't nod.
Oh yeah.
It's basically one of those games in which you have normal people in extraordinary circumstances, except this time you're in outer space. You're on a planet. Not much to see in the trailer. It's fine. Now, the other shocking thing of the game was that Final Fantasy VII Intergrade and Final Fantasy 16 are coming to Xbox. And
exclusivity is over.
But here's the thing. Those are supposed to be unlimited exclusive games. But I think there might have been a clause, because here's the thing. Sony commissioned these games from Square Enix, right?
Mm-hmm.
But there might have been a clause in the contract that says if these don't sell, then they go multi-platform. And they didn't sell, so they're going multi-platform. Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade will have all the games, both games, and an intermission. And Final Fantasy 16. And what's interesting is that Claire Obscure sort of ate Final Fantasy 16's lunch. But people are still going to be interested in playing on the Xbox anyway. But sort of like all of the flaws of Final Fantasy 16 were exposed by Claire Obscure.
Yes, I would say that you're right about that, and the fact that Claire Obscure is almost a perfect RPG for what I've played so far. As far as just like the story grips you from the get-go, the music is beautiful, the combat system is like it's turn-based, but it's engaging.
It's turn-based, but it has action elements because dodging and that sort of stuff.
Dodging and parrying and then like the flow of combat where like every character has like a unique factor or mechanic behind them.
Yeah, and you can unlock them. It's sort of like in a way, it's sort of like Marvel's Midnight Suns, because you get to choose which skills that they will have, right? You unlock the skills, and you pick which skills you want to do, and which ones are going to synergize with the other characters you have with you.
I also just kind of love I love the nature of the creatures that you come across as well, where like these things are they're scary, and they're like
the game is shockingly goofy too. It has a lot of goofy moments.
they're scary and creepy in like a French way, a very specifically French way.
But they're also comical and goofy in a French way too. It begins with a G. You know what I'm talking about. The race of creatures with the masks and all that stuff. It is just, we like to fight and fight and fight. That's our entire culture.
The Gestrels.
Yeah, yes. The Gestrels. Those are incredibly goofy, but here's the thing.
They're also dangerous.
And the other thing is that they're goofy, but they fit in the world. And that is something that's extremely Final Fantasy-like. Because Final Fantasy has the chokobos, you have all these other goofy characters.
You have these critters running around acting like Muppets and talking about we love to fight, and they're adorable and silly. But also there's like in the corner of their village is a journal from one of the previous expeditions from a guy basically saying he got his head crushed in by one of them and he's going to die from his head wound. And it's like,
and also the chief, she's hard to beat because she hits you once, that's it.
She's like a special fight. Where like you aren't supposed to fight her.
There are a couple of those characters. Like there's this one other character that's in a cave, and if you can actually go down into the cave, and there's one character there, and his one hit will knock out almost all your. It's sort of like fighting a SNK boss. Some of these characters,
man, and the parries and like dodges on some of these bosses are freaking ridiculous.
And they're not always the same. Sometimes they'll do 1, 2, but sometimes they'll do 1, 2, 3, and it's that pause that gets you.
My least favorite kind of enemy in Clair Obscur are the ones that will come up right on top of you and be like,
the ones with those pillars, and they go,
well, just like, they'll do like several different feints at you before they finally take the swing.
But here's the thing. Once you start hearing that audio cue, you say, oh, I got it.
Yep.
You have to, it's sort of like Cuphead, in which you enter the zone, in which everything slows down. You enter this Zen-like state, and all of a sudden you're just kicking ass all over the place.
You absolutely can get into that zone like Zen status in Clair Obscur, where like you hit every parry, you hit every dodge, you chain your attacks properly, and you just feel awesome.
But here's the thing about the story of Clair Obscur. And also, we're talking about a game that was released earlier this year, not the game show. But the thing about Clair Obscur is that it sets itself up to be really dour. The opening, and then the party before you leave, and then when you actually get to the island and your team wiped, you're wiped. It seems like this is going to be one depressing slog. And then you meet the Gestrels, and then you meet the characters who you think are villains, and you start to see there's a lot more here going on. Unfortunately, they also made the ending obvious to me without actually, because the old man is basically you're the main character. Older, yes, and the girl that's with him is the 22-year-old that comes with you. It makes it so painfully obvious, and if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I've stopped playing Clair Obscur, not because I got tired of it, because I have all these other things that I'm working on right now. I'll get back into it. Just like I have, now that I have Metaphor Fantasio on Game Pass, it's sort of like, when am I going to play that? I'm gonna have to really make room for it, because it's a 120-hour plus game. And oh, by the way, while we're talking about that, we might as well talk about the biggest non-secret. They revealed the remaster of Persona 4.
Yes. Several of the voice actors from the original game revealed it.
We're not going to be in it. They spoiled it. But...
yeah.
Oh, by the way, I have to say, everything on the Xbox showcase, they all said it's going to be on Game Pass. Every single game is going to be on Game Pass. a lot of shit coming to Game Pass.
Yeah. They I'm sorry. Where were we? My brain just got derailed.
We're talking about Persona 4.
Persona 4. Yeah, worst kept secret ever, but like exciting to see it because like out of all the before Persona 5, Persona 4 was probably everybody's favorite one because Teddy is silly, the characters are interesting, and even though it was like problematic in certain parts of the story, like
yes, and they're gonna change that too. They always have.
It was still like at the time these characters resonated with a lot of people, and then they made a fighting game out of it and made it even more cool. So like.
Yeah, it's interesting. The fighting game came to the Xbox, but the other games didn't come until late onto the Xbox.
Mm-hmm. So Persona 4 Revival getting an announcement on the Xbox right out of the gate is cool for Xbox fans, and I'm excited to play this. I like this story a lot. I think its villain is probably one of the more interesting ones in the series because he's not the typical radioactive douche that you knew was going to be the villain right from the get-go. He's actually like a clever jerk in a way that like you don't expect how hard he's going to turn until it happens.
Also unexpected was Super Meat Boy 3D. I immediately saw it was going to be Super Meat Boy. And the reason why it's surprising is that what the hell was he working on while he was doing eugenics? He was also secretly doing Super Meat Boy 3D too.
This isn't made by Team Meat. Did you see that?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's an odd thing to me. Like, I wonder if like, is he just licensing that IP yet to other developers now? Because I mean, cool, but
it's an homage too. It not only is it, but it is so old school console, Dreamcast, Nintendo 64 day homage.
Mm-hmm. It's just a strange thing. I welcome more Meat Boy games, but I was very surprised to see that Team Meat wasn't on the developer list for it.
The most intriguing game to me was There Are No Ghosts at the Grand. And I said, oh, it looks like a cozy game. You're going to be doing the interiors. And then it gets more and more Lovecraftian and more and more Lovecraftian and more Lovecraftian. Yeah. And the one thing that they didn't tell you in the trailer is that this is a time-based game. 30 days, 30 nights, that's it, the game ends.
Yep. That's going to be an interesting one as well. I'm really interested.
Any game with a talking cat.
Yeah.
Any game with a talking cat.
What did you think of the Outer Worlds 2 reveal?
Well, before we get into that, let's talk about the other one. I was not expecting a new Plague Tale game.
Oh, yeah. Like, they're getting a lot out of that series. I like this one's gonna be a little bit more action focused, just you know. But it's still made by Asobo. I like the first game a lot. I haven't had a chance to dig into the second game.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people did like the second game though. I think they said that the engagements with enemy beings in the game were better than in the first which sounds good to me because in the first game, trying to get around enemies and trying to use that sling on them was painful.
I don't think there are any rats involved in this one.
There's got to be rats. It's a Plague Tale. Where's the plague?
Oh, God. The one game I was really not impressed with was Invincible VS. It looks like a stock fighting game.
I also was not into it. I think I've heard stuff since it was first revealed that makes me a bit more interested. This is made by a group called Quarter Up, which is composed of developers that were at Double Helix for the creation of Killer Instinct. So we've got Killer Instinct staff working on this game. I also heard that like playing it was a bit better than that trailer. Like the people that played it at SGF and gave it a try were talking about you have like button-based specials, which sounds weird. It sounds like modern controls to me, but it ended up being a little bit more intuitive than that. Your combos are decided by like how much gauge you have, and that's how long they'll run. And the character, I always kind of also wondered if Invincible even has enough characters to be a tag game. Because a tag game implies a lot of options to me. And Marvel looks like it'll be fine for that because the Marvel universe is vast and there's so many characters you can pull from that. Invincible, like,
Here's the thing: all
have
the
you watched
characters
the
look the
show?
same. I
Yeah.
know the show, but all the characters look the same, and that's one thing that always is stressed about making a game like this. You have to make them. There's the silhouette rule. If they all look the same in silhouette, it's not a good character design.
Yeah.
I didn't see any differences between any of the characters except they punch.
Adam Eve looked like the most different character just because she uses energy beams instead of punching. But you're right. Between
She has tits.
Invincible,
I mean, that's what makes her different. She has tits.
she uses energy moves. Like, at the very least, there's that. Everyone else, Bulletproof, Invincible, the Viltrumite, every one of the Viltrumites just use the same like punching. And I don't know. I like they have a multiverses thing going in Invincible, so I guess like they could pull like different versions of the characters from other universes, and that also just seems kind of, I don't know, 7 Gokus and Dragon Ball Fighter Z type stuff.
So, before we move on to the Outer Worlds 2, what did you think of High on Life 2? I mean, it looks basically like High on Life.
Yeah, I don't have many thoughts on it. I don't have I didn't have any
It's
love for the
trippy,
first
but
game.
it's trippy. I'll give it that. I
I didn't
actually
have
was
any,
hoping it might be an Sunset Overdrive 2 at first.
I didn't have any love for the first High on Life, so I don't know. With like High on Life 2, if it'll have to impress me if it wants to get into my space.
Okay, so Outer Worlds 2. I was not a fan of the first game.
Right.
But the second game, they're making it bigger and they're redoing it, and I might enjoy this one because they're getting deeper into the RPG systems. For one, they have better movement and combat, and it looks more like like a Mass Effect game than it does the Outer Worlds too. I mean, the Outer Worlds.
In the first Outer Worlds, I invested heavy into science, and it ended up giving me access to most of the science weapons as I got them. Yeah. And that was my favorite part of combat in the first game. And so to see the shrink ray and in this game where you turn an enemy into a little guy and then mash him with a freaking sledgehammer was hilarious to me. I also like the freeze ray where you freeze up enemies and then shatter them to pieces. I liked the first game, and I've seen people say that they didn't like the combat a lot. It looks better than the first game for combat, where it actually looks like they've leaned a little bit harder into developing their shooting game. Yeah. I have to imagine that they also learned some things from Avowed, because this, like, generally speaking, this looks better than the first game when it comes to exploration and combat and traversal and interaction with the characters.
You have to put the first game into perspective. That was when teals and purples and all these colors, all these Suicide Squad colors were hot. You know, remember Rage 2? Mm-hmm. Remember the color scheme of Rage 2 and Far Cry 5? They abandoned that color scheme for this one. Thank God. That was an eyesore. That hurt my eyes. That was one of the reasons I couldn't enjoy the Outer Worlds. One of the reasons. I wasn't really a big fan of the combat or the RPG or the elements like that. It just was.
Yeah, which is why I've been paying attention to the combat on this one. Was it looks like they're doing better. It looks like they've set themselves up to do better.
I am surprised that they didn't have anything for State of Decay 3. It sounds like they moved it back a year as well. They were in the grapevine. The big showcase this year was supposed to be Fable, and they delayed it, so they moved it back a year, and they did a quickie on the Outer Worlds 2, which is fine because what I saw from the Outer Worlds 2 was really encouraging.
Yes, I was every. I think one of the funnest things I saw was that they're bringing back the radio stations where you'll be able to listen to radio and listen to different factions and what they have to say about what's going on and different just music that you'll have throughout the game. I always like the radio stations in these games. It gives me something to do when the world is quiet and empty and nothing is going on at the moment. It also just kind of gives good background music when I suddenly run into silly shit. But they also showed off like every single one of the companions you're going to run into in this game. And one of them was like this they described them as soldiers that were injected with animal DNA to try to turn them into hybridized monster people, and she's like a survivor of those experiments. They had a few different they had like a straight and narrow soldier type. They had like a renegade sort of thug type. They had a cool looking robot, but I think the Beast Lady is my favorite idea of a companion so far.
Yeah. Well, I don't know what else can we talk about because we finally found out what Double Fine's next game is going to be, and as usual for one of their minor games, as weird as anything, they did stacking. Remember stacking? And there was another game that was really weird as well. That was sort of like a mini, like an indie against Box Live, but Keeper, in which you play a walking lighthouse.
Oh,
I have no idea. Tim, what are you doing? But I have my faith in Tim because he always has weird ideas and makes them work. But like stacking, and the one in which you trade heads, Headlander. Headlander was the other game. This is sort of like that in that mold, in which you're playing a walking lighthouse. And here's the thing: when I saw the trailer for a moment, I thought it was a Rare game.
It does have kind of like that Rare sort of bold coloring about it. That it's sort of comical in a way. It's not cel shaded, but it is kind of similar to just like a cartoonish looking thing that is very specific to Rare. But yeah, this does look very Double Fine in the way that it's just a weird game.
So
lighthouse with spider legs. The colors in this world are gorgeous, by the way. It's mostly yellows and gross, but like there's occasionally like caverns of blue and pinks and these flowers and different areas. I like it. It at the very least it looks visually interesting.
Anyways, that's basically it, really.
What was your favorite thing?
Oh, the Sea of Thieves DLC. Okay. What was my favorite thing? Huh. You know what? Really? Let me go back here. Of the show, I think my favorite thing was Grounded 2 and Clockwork Revolution. Those are the two games that I'm really looking forward to. And in July 29th, there's going to be a preview version. So,
were those your favorites of the whole weekend of showcases?
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah.
I mean,
Railborn 2, if only because I don't know, making a base game in which you're on a train.
I think I have to stay with Marvel Tokon. That was probably the thing that like made me go.
Arc System Works. How could you not?
Yeah, Arc System Works, Tag Fighter, Marvel game, competent looking Marvel game, not like a mobile crap fighting game spinoff. It hit every button that it hit every switch that said TJ on it, and I enjoyed that about it.
Yeah. Anyways, oh dear, I lost the notes. There we go. Look for our show notes at gamingpodcast.net, along with industry news and our gaming history articles. We enjoy feedback, so leave us comments on our blog at gamingpodcast.net. Also, hit us up at facebook.com/gamingpodcast. You can find me on Blue Sky at Jonah Falcon.
You can find me at Johnny Chugs.
And hopefully we'll see you next week with Scott, who is apparently a no-show. So
have fun, be cool, play games, y'all.
That'll end the stream now, if I can find. Oh, there it is. End stream.